Now let's consider the present value and discounting. So calculating the present value of a single sum of money that will be received after a number of periods involves discounting the amount of interest that have been earned over that period at a given rate of interest. Therefore, it's the exact opposite or inverse of calculating the future value of a sum of money. Remember, now money is moving backwards. Such calculations are useful for determining today's price or value of an asset or cash flow that will be received in the future. The formula used for determining is as follows, and you can see it's an inverse relationship, so now it's 1 over 1 plus r to the n. So let's consider a single period scenario, and again we will always start with a timeline, even though the math here is available. So now in this case, we know that the future value is $100, and we're trying to figure out the present value. So money is actually moving backwards. So again, we know that our future value is $100, and what we're trying to figure out is what is the present value. So in this case, we've calculated that it's $90.91. So the money has been discounted from the future value as $100 with a 10% discount rate to a present value of $90.91. So for multiple periods, we can use the same formula. Let's take a look at an example. Here in this case, we won the jackpot. We got $50,000 at a casino, but we want to save a portion of that $50,000. So we have $40,000 in the future to put down a house after 5 years. So your bank pays 6% rate of interest. So the question is, how much money do we have to set aside from the jackpot winnings today to make sure that we have that $40,000 that we need in 5 years? So again, our timeline, again, we know that we want to have $40,000 in the future, but we need to know how much that $40,000 needs to be set aside in the present to get to $40,000 in that future. So future value is $40,000. And what we're trying to solve for is the present value. We know our rate is 6%. And the number of years, okay, so the discount period in this case is 5. So now that we've drawn the timeline, we can take a look at the math and also how we can solve through the calculator or spreadsheet. So if we look at it from the math point of view, we know we can input it into our formula. Okay, so that future value was the 40,000. The interest rate was 6%, and our number of years was 5 years. So you can see our present value. Okay, we need to basically invest $29,890.33 today, and 5 years later it will mature to $40,000. Now that is math. Let's take a look at our calculator method. Again, if you can put input these numbers into your financial calculator, or you do have access through MyLab. But again, really important is how do we figure it out through the spreadsheet. That's going to be our most effective way. I do want to point out something. If you see here in both the calculator and the spreadsheet, you see that the present value is a negative number. Now the reason for this is basically the way that the calculator thinks. It sees it as a cash inflow. So think of it as paying that $29,000 as a negative, and we're going to get a future value of a positive. So we'll talk more about that later on, but just a reminder, you do need to put in at least the present value or the future value. One of those values needs to be a negative for it to calculate properly in both the calculator and spreadsheet. This has been our video on present value and understanding present value compounding. Stay tuned for video 3.3 and 3.4 of Chapter 3. Thanks for watching and happy financing.